Safe Soil World Raisers, Sabine and Roger here. Today we're gonna watch Is There an Alternative to Drugs and Alcohol? Alcohol? Very German. Alcohol by Sadhguru. We know we have a lot of young people watching, and this is a great topic because a lot of young people try out these kind of things like we did when we were young, so long ago.
So ages ago.
Yeah, let's talk about drugs and alcohol and our experience after.
And if you like drugs and alcohol, hit that like button.
Oh my god. Roger. That was bad, but I think I'm gonna leave it in. So,
I mean, if you like meditation, if you prefer meditation over drugs and alcohol, hit that like button.
Thank you. And subscribe.
Namaskaram Sadhguru. I'd like to know the truth about the increase in alcohol usage and addiction in my generation, my younger generation. Very young kids in school are starting to use substances and as a safe haven, as an escape for them, and that feels very scary and dangerous. I want to know why you think kids are using this, and I want to know what you think is the best way, most organic way to get people out of it.
Nice.
Namaskaram, Nag.
Sadhguru.
I like your name. Huh? Cobras have always been very dear to me. And if you do not know this, cobra venom also is an intoxicant if it's used in a certain way. Why the need for intoxication is going up in the society? There are many reasons. One basic thing is, people are no more fighting for survival. A large segment of society has moved out of survival. When people move out of survival, they must find other areas of interest and passionate involvement. If that doesn't happen, the need for pleasure and the need for intoxication will naturally go up in that given society. This is why it's very important that even if the parents are affluent, the children should not know affluence till they come to a certain age. In this culture, even the kings sent their children to Gurukula, where they studied with other children, where everybody lived with very basic needs, because a necessary sense of discipline and involvement and engagement with life has to happen before wealth comes into somebody's life. Otherwise, wealth will become a burden that you carry on your head. And this is what is happening to this generation. And one more reason is, because these days both the parents are working largely, at an early age, the needed attention that the child needs is not happening to the child, so naturally various deviances are taken to, and there is not enough physical activity. When you don't enjoy the fitness of your body, then the only other thing that you will enjoy is intoxication. If you do not enjoy the vibrance and vitality of your system, then intoxication becomes the only way. And now drugs are not only intoxication, they'll also make them feel vibrant for a few hours. So, massively, the generation is moving in that way. And one more significant reason why this generation is moving towards these drugs is, in their minds, the heavens that were promised are collapsing. Maybe still they're not able to articulate it very clearly, they don't have the clarity or the courage to say it. But for a long time, we have managed people saying that if you abstain from all these things, in heaven all of this will be available in huge quantities. Now heavens are collapsing, so they're trying to drink it up right here. So there are like this, there are many aspects. Fundamentally, there is no need for an individual human being to physically strive for his survival. That itself makes the need for intoxication more. What are the solutions? It's very, very important, those of you who have growing children, you involve them in sports, other activity which engages them with nature, like trekking, mountain climbing, swimming, some intense activity, and also engagement with nature, art, music. They must become passionate about something. They must learn to know the pleasures of their intellect, their emotion, their consciousness. When one begins to enjoy the pleasures of the mind, the pleasures of the sharpness of your intellect, the pleasures of emotion, the pleasures of your consciousness, then to indulge in the pleasures of the body will naturally come down dramatically. So this is very important, that children should go through a variety of activity and involvement and passionate involvement in various things. This will bring down the need for alcohol and drugs, but we must understand this. Today, it is being heavily marketed, and I'm sorry, the movies are promoting it. Everywhere it is being made like it's a social thing. Unless you drink, you're no good. People ask me, Sadhguru, you drink? I said, yes, I drink water. They look at me like I'm strange creature. Just water? Yes, that is the most fantastic drink that you can have is water. Because this body is made of water, not alcohol. 70% of this body is water, definitely not alcohol. But above all, I'm a different case because I have found within my system how, this being the greatest chemical factory, if you want intoxication, you can generate it from inside. A kind of intoxication which makes you inebriated and super aware at the same time. This is the kind of intoxication we should introduce our children and youth to. This is why we are striving to bring the technology of yoga into everybody's life. If you go into certain states within yourself, you will know intoxication like no drug or no drink can ever create. At the same time, you will remain super aware and it will do miracles to your health and well-being. It is time that we learn to do things in a more technologically enhanced way. We have ways for this that people can turn inward and know the highest pleasures of life. We must make our youth experience this. Unless you give them an alternative, they will go back to the bottle, they will go back to the pill. Right now, to be healthful, you need chemicals. To be peaceful, you need chemicals. To be joyful, you need chemicals. To experience anything within yourself, you need chemical help. So you must understand, when a generation uses chemicals like this, if 90% of the people start using pharmaceutical and other types of chemicals on a daily basis, the next generation that we produce will be in many ways less than who we are. This is a crime against humanity. All of us should wake up to this fact and do what is needed.
Yes. Bravo, Sadhguru.
Youth and truth. Yeah, so much wisdom in there, right? So what can they do? What's the alternative, right?
Yeah, and first of all, what did he say are the reasons?
Are the reasons for what?
For the youth drinking and consuming so much alcohol and drugs.
Well, it's basically, it's the way I see it, it's more body identification, right? And then just, you know, the parents being gone, right? Because there's more work being done, like the woman is also working, right? So there's less attention on the kids, and then so less emphasis on getting them into the activities and getting them passionate about other things, right? Because I remember when I got into alcohol, I didn't really get into drugs so much, but definitely alcohol. And then once you get into it, yeah, you get that buzz. It's like you're working for the weekend, and even, you know, prior to work life and even in school, that's just what you do to socialize. And then you're drinking because it loosens up the nervousness, and then it's called, like we used to call it, like liquid courage, right? Where you have a few drinks and then you can go socialize, and then because it just removes all filters, right? So so I was fortunate though. I was very, very happy, outgoing drunk. I would just get really happy, and you know, I wouldn't really get into fighting or aggression and stuff. I was just really friendly and outgoing, and then that was kind of it for a while, right? So every weekend you would drink, right? And party, and then the party life, going to the clubs and having fun, because like he was saying is that you need something, you get that pleasure from the body, so the body gets into those states, and then it's interacting and socializing, and then it feels good, body consciously, right? So what he's saying is that we need stuff, first, for the body. So the options are like, body is the physicality, like trekking, I like that one, and then of course sports, and then getting into the more mind qualities, right? Getting joy from the consciousness, and the consciousness is primary to the body. So if you can find joy in that, which is the really creative endeavors like music, right? Literature, art, and that sort of stuff, where you're using your mind to create beautiful things, which could be very passionate, right? And then of course you can get into, yoga, right? And meditation, right? And understanding, the true source of your being, and then get into those bliss states, right? So we just finished the Bhagavad Gita, and Brahmic bliss came up, right? So that was a bit of a theme, and that's very much, and now I remember, so it's been a long time since I've drank alcohol, and Sabine also, and I wouldn't go back, right? So we just had a golf tournament at work a couple weekends ago, and just about everybody was drinking, and I would have also if I was still doing that. But I had a great time socializing and interacting and playing golf with everybody, and I didn't have a drop.
Yeah. So. I think one problem today is that, okay, so he says because of survival, we don't have to survive anymore. Everything is really comfortable. So we're not as active. Then maybe, there's boredom. And then there's all the traumas, that people don't get enough attention as a child. They feel maybe lost. And they also don't learn how to deal with all these emotions, like there is no school subject where, like psychology. It's like, what do you do? What is going on? Like, what is anger? How does it arise? Why does it arise? No, like it's just not being taught, at least when I went to school. And then it gets really confusing, and then you all of a sudden try alcohol, and they're like, wow, this is sweet. And then, of course, you keep going and going, because it feels good. It feels like a break from this daily suffering. And for me, it was never really attractive, because one of my dads, I have 2 stepdads, so I have 3 dads. So one of them did drink a lot on the weekends, and then he got really aggressive and just not very nice, like not good. So I didn't have a good relationship with alcohol. Like it did not interest me at all until I was like, first time I was drunk was when I was 15, and maybe the amount of alcohol I drank in my life, maybe 20 times. Literally, it was not a thing for me. It was only when it was a big party, and I just, you just do it. And then it didn't even taste good, so it was just getting drunk, and partying, and just being joyful. And then it was all, same with Roger. I didn't get aggressive or anything. I was just like, in a really happy, joyful state until, the vomiting started and everything. But anyways, like this sounds all cool. We had good experience when we were drunk, but then, like my stepdad, he didn't take it well. And especially I know he never been to therapy and everything. So all the childhood trauma, everything that was there within him, it's still there. Like you can't escape it. Like you literally can't. You have to look at that stuff. You have to process it through therapy, through yoga, through meditation, through whatever, you feel drawn to. And then you can get the same states, beautiful and even more beautiful bliss states without horrible consequences afterwards regarding shame and embarrassment, what you did when you were drunk. Anyways.
So I like what Sadhguru emphasizes, like it could be a crisis, against humanity in a sense by, So if we have the current generation, you know, that's having children, if they're into drugs and alcohol and doing that, then what's going to happen to the next generation? They're going to be more so into it. And then it's like, so it's a really critical time, I think, in history, because we have these ancient teachings that are available now, and there's still some people interested in it. And then, so we have to be the ones to kind of, you know, make it cool again and kind of spread those teachings, because it's just so much more, you know, important and worth it than, you know, than anything else right now. And I'm so excited because Sadhguru is kind of paving the way for this to get the younger generation. Bless you.
Whoa.
So with Youth and Truth, right? Because I believe that it's the youth, and especially starting with the youth of India, because they have all these profound teachings. And if they embrace this and get into yoga, and then just the intellect of that culture, you know, we know just diving into it, like the Vedas and Upanishads and what's being taught. And then so yeah, that kind of went away with, you know, of course, the invaders. We all know the story, but then kind of really shamed, it seems, India into not really, you know, believing in themselves and their wisdom and knowledge. But if you investigate even just a little bit, you see how brilliant and how many, you know, geniuses there are. So just imagine if that sparks in the youth, and they get into the yoga, they get into the Vedas and Upanishads and the teachings, and then they realize who they really are, and that they can manifest whatever they want, and then they can radically transform this world very, very quickly, right? So I believe that now is the time for the youth of India to re-own their culture and their heritage and the wisdom and the knowledge, and then just, you know, get joy and pleasure out of creating, like, whatever, you know, music, masterpieces, film, art, literature, like bringing back, like recreating, you know, even the ancient epics in like more profound, beautiful ways. And then, of course, getting into like how to save nature and all these sorts of other crises. Like if you get spiritual geniuses, like genius yogis, bodhisattvas, who are, you know, working on making this world better, like, holy smokes.
Heaven on earth.
Like, me and Sabine can't do it. We're not smart enough, but you guys can. No, like, are you really going to solve the climate crisis? Or?
Oh, that's the...
Are you a super...
I thought about, you know...
no, we're not super geniuses.
Oh. For these kind of things. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we need some super geniuses to, you know, understand the truth. And then, boom, transformation.
Shambhala.
Yeah. Because there's also, the other big problem that he touched on was just the pharmaceutical industry, right? There's a reason why it's like one of the biggest industries in the world is like because of depression, right? Because we're not getting access to, you know, true meaning and fulfillment, you know, in the mundane affairs of life. So then people go to the doctor, what do? They get a prescription, and then they're on an antidepressant or something for the rest of their lives, right?
Yeah, we've never... have you been?
That's not the
I
solution.
don't even know.
I was on it for...
Really?
Not very long, though. I think I got it my first prescription, and then I took, I don't know, like maybe 12 pills.
Was it when the big crash?
Yeah, when the big thing happened. Yeah. So, but no, it wasn't... I deemed that I didn't really need it, but it was good to observe that the first thing that was like antidepressants instead of recommending, you know, nature or
Did they
spirituality.
recommend therapy?
No.
Did you ever do therapy?
No.
Okay.
Well, when I was a kid, I did for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a pretty bad kid, and my mom took me for some counseling.
Roger had a horrific childhood, to be honest. It was like ways worse than mine.
Yeah.
Anyways, he turned out amazing.
So fortunate in many ways, though, because, you know, it led me to seeking, right? So seeking the truth. Okay. So, yeah. So if you're a youth and you're seeking the truth, please let us know in the comments so we can send our prayers and our well wishes and,
exactly,
you know, wish you the best on your journey, because now is the time. The youth is just so important. You guys are the future. You are the world. You're going to bring in and create what this world is going to be. And if you're, you know, if you're not a youth, if you're like our age or older, you know, let us know. Give us some ideas of what you guys think is the best way to, you know, re-inspire the youth and get them away from the drugs and alcohol. So now is the time.
Or at least moderation.
Yeah, every now and again.
Which was not possible for me. It was all or nothing. When I drank, I was always drunk. That's why I didn't drink much. It was like, I was just straight for vodka. Yeah. That was the only thing that I could actually swallow. It was like, that's it.
Me too. I binged. Yeah, I had a friend, and he was always like bigger and heavier than me, so he could always obviously drink more than me. And I always tried to keep up to him, right?
No.
And I would just get hammered.
Oh no.
So
guys.
Crazy times.
Anyways, we shouldn't giggle so much about those times because
but I wouldn't,
you know, it involves a lot of suffering.
But it's in the past, and I would never ever go back. It's like, you know, why did I damage my body so much, right?
Yeah. So I took a vow in 2013 that I'm done with alcohol.
Yeah. And I never took a vow, but I just decided.
Yeah.
So cool. Sadhguru, once again, laying it down, the wisdom and the profundity, and we just need to do what he says.
Let's do it. Okay.
So raise yourself.
And raise the world. Thank you so much, everyone. And a very special thank you to all our members. We love you.
Peace.